What is this thing with the nice white flowers? As I back off, it is a Japanese privet. I think it's one of the underrated plant materials. This thing just will not die. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to work, but I'll show you when I trim this how great this will look. So anyway, today's project is this Japanese privet that is quite old. So let me go ahead and get started. Today is middle of May, right smack in the middle. Last couple days it's been hot. We got up to I think 96. Today is kind of on the cool side, which is the normal. Anyway, all my plants are doing well now. We did have a little bit of late frost, which is normal around here, and then a few things burnt a little bit, but other than that, more or less normal. But these will take all kinds of abuse, the heat, the cold. Some of this damage, I think hail hit it and then it got discolored. But what you have to do is just take them off. And then the new growth will be nice and fresh. This side was the front, and then this side I couldn't get to because it was in the back. That's also why we have the flower. Well, you know, most of these flowering things, they happen on the tip, but if you keep pruning the ends to keep the shape, you don't have the flower. Well, that was on the back side, protected. That's why it was still there. Okay, so and as we get into this, you'll see that it has a massive trunk that's been damaged a number of times. And now it looks like a great feature. So, you know, a lot of times this bad things happen in the process. Well, you can see where I did the big cut. You can see where I had made the big cut and it's starting to roll over, so eventually this will cover it up. But if I swing it to the other side, you can't see, so I'll go ahead and trim it and I'll show you. This started out as a sun damage, so the bark got peeled back. But now look at how great this feature looks. Okay, so once I get this thing pruned out, you'll see even more. And all these so-called bad things that happen to trees, they could become great features in the future. What I'm going to do next is to physically cut off all these damaged ones, right? See? And then I guess I could pluck it, but normally it's better to just cut these off, not to damage the bud that's underneath. So, well, I was concerned that if I do that, it may look a little unbalanced because certain parts will be sort of bare. So that's why I showed you before I got started on this part. So I'll go ahead and do that and wrap this chapter up. Okay, gotta cut quite a bit out so that I got rid of most of the damaged leaves. But look at this feature right here. That was, a few years back. It was one of those mistakes, but now it's turning out to be a really great piece. As we get around to the back side, this is healing over. Yeah, I think this Japanese privet is come a long way. It's going to be very good. So let's wrap this up. So this has been the Japanese privet. A lot of people make funny faces when you say privet because they propagate rather rapidly. So if your neighbor down the street has one, you might end up with one. But in terms of bonsai material, it's one of the hardiest. It's almost impossible to kill. So anyway, I think everybody should have one in their collection. Of course, it takes a few years to get to this level. Okay, so anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. So this has been the Japanese privet. This is probably 30 some odd years old.